Hello everyone, welcome back. This is RandoGEEK. It looks like EchoStar and Dish Network have just announced their Q1 earnings. So as expected, we're seeing some losses. Nobody's really surprised here. Unfortunately, we all see this as the norm for Dish now. This is basically how things have been going and will continue to go until, either they somehow get lucky and something goes right for them, or their unfortunate demise, aka bankruptcy. That's been coming up a lot in discussion over the last couple of months, years, even for many of you, never feeling like Dish or their Boost brand will go anywhere. That has not been the case for me. I have had reason to believe that they would turn around and do better, but unfortunately, they are in a very volatile market. There's a lot of competition, and unfortunately, they didn't play their cards right from day one, and now it seems like all of that is just coming back to haunt them. Really, I think the only thing keeping Dish Network and the Boost brands alive is the fact that they were able to consolidate and merge with EchoStar using those finances to keep them afloat. But even that is not enough. There's not enough money being made. And there's a lot of reasons why. One of those reasons that we're seeing losses here is Boost lost 81,000 subscribers in Q1, ending the quarter with 7.3 million customers. We're seeing a lot of losses on broadband, 26,000, and huge losses on pay TV, which tallied 348,000. So amid these losses, EchoStar needs to raise capital because they have a huge $2 billion debt coming through in November. This is where the discussion of bankruptcy has come up a lot lately in conversation because Dish itself has expressed its concern on whether or not they're going to be able to have that money to pay off those debts. This is where, the whole bankruptcy thing has gotten a bit clearer as part of what might have to happen in order for Dish to just, balance out. They might have to just let it go. There's an analyst, Craig Moffett of Moffett Nathanson. You guys are probably familiar with the name, but he says that he thinks Dish only has about 4 to 6 months before they'll file for bankruptcy. If they cannot turn things around by then, it's pretty much going to be a given that is what's going to happen. Dish has some plans. It looks like they're going to be rebooting the Boost Infinite line, offering more perks. They basically said that, they haven't given much thought to the plans. They kind of rushed it out. They were too busy trying to build out the native network and get 5G popping. And they basically just threw some plans out there and were hoping for the best. And they see that obviously that's not paying off. That's not what consumers want. Consumers want the real deal. There's a lot of competition out there. So besides the plans needing adjustment, more perks, more international benefits, more data, whatever it is that might attract more customers, they need to be a little bit more skeptical when it comes to the amount of devices that they allow consumers to bring in order to use their native network. You shouldn't have to buy a specific kind of phone to use their network. You don't have to do that with AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile. You can use a number of Androids and a number of iPhones and get their service. So that was a big no-no, and I think that, it probably turned a lot of customers off from day one. Remember, if you're someone that's used to getting what you want and getting it conveniently, you don't want to come to Dish, which you're not completely satisfied with their plans to begin with. You don't feel like you're getting enough for your money, and then now you have to buy a certain kind of phone to use their network, which their network is not, it's still being fine-tuned. It's good, and a lot of, customers are saying that it's great, it's working great. But remember, they're still new to this. They're still fine-tuning. They're still putting money into it. They're not like the other three. They don't have that experience and reputation So they have to kind of attract customers. They can't be all, diva like with it, where you need to bring this kind of phone, otherwise you can't use our network. I think that they need to be a little more giving. And that's seems like that's what their plan is. They're gonna reboot it, overhaul the whole process that they've been doing now, make some changes, and I think they're hoping that they'll start to see some more profit in regards to those changes. So they're saying even with all the negative news that we just discussed about the losses with the pay TV and broadband and Boost, they're saying that there's some promise showing in the metrics that Boost Mobile was net positive in subscriber growth for the month of March, and Akavan says that he thinks that trend will continue. They're saying that Boost is also making a bigger effort to maintain the prepaid business, which they're saying that there was an overemphasis on the postpaid business at the expense of prepaid. And he says that we're kind of bringing that back now for both of them. So that's the plan. They're going to try to reboot both plans, give you more of what you need, which is a must. I mean, if they expect those plans to sell, they got to make them attractive. Many of you have not been satisfied with what you're getting for your money, and you think that they could do better. You were disappointed that they weren't doing better. So we'll see. We will see if this will be enough for them to turn things around, to at least extend the lifeline of their service. I don't know how much longer they can remain losing, but if they make their plans a little bit more attractive, perhaps they can extend for an extra 6 months, and maybe that'll give them some time to figure more things out. I don't know. It seems like pretty much that's how Dish has been operating over the last course of years. Anyway, they've just kind of been taking it step by step. They don't really know what tomorrow brings for them. They're not able to really predict. I think that they bit more than they could chew when getting into the wireless industry, and unfortunately, it's costing them. So I don't know. You guys can feel free to comment down below if you'd like, in regards to what you think will happen within the next 6 months to a year, maybe even sooner, regarding Dish. And do you think rebooting the plans, adding more perks and benefits to the Boost line, whether it's mobile and infinite? Let me know down below, because I'm very curious to hear you guys' thoughts always about this. I know many of you feel very strong about the demise of Dish. You just want it. Some of you feel like they did it to themselves and you'd like to see them go under. But there's a handful of us that, see that the network is good, feel like there's, that they could do better. But we're also wishing upon a star a little bit with that, because we know it's never that easy. And we know that they just have way too much debt and way too many problems that it's going to be really tough to figure it out. The best thing would have been some kind of merger with another company to help them out, like the likes of Amazon or something like that, because Amazon has so much money that they could have easily cleaned up this whole mess. And they could have just, Boost and Amazon could have came back really strong, offered a bunch of great products and services, some nice plans. And, the Dish native network is out there and it's doing well. So the service is good. It's just, there's a lot of debt that needs to be cleared, and the plans need readjusting. And a lot of that stuff costs money, and they just don't have it. Dish just does not have it, not without, further disrupting future plans. So anyway, we will have to wait and see. We'll get more updates, of course. This is a huge subject, whether or not Dish will be filing for bankruptcy within 4 to 6 months, maybe a little longer. Either way, interesting to see what's really going to happen. Be really interesting to see if they make it through somehow. Even if they can extend for like another year or so, that would be interesting to see how they would even pull that off. How they'd be able to get their hands on the extra money to pay off that debt and still continue to meet the FCC requirements for 2025, which they have to do. Anyway, thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.